Hello, it's Tuesday the 29th. I'm FX Blue and this is the market brief. So spare a thought for poor old Rishi Sunak. Back when he first became Chancellor, we were all a little like, who even is this Rishi Sunak? But quickly he became a pretty popular chap, overseeing several stimulus schemes and pandemic handouts. Who said you can't buy popularity? The furlough payments and of course his Eat Out to Help Out scheme quickly saw him become Boris's main rival in any future leadership contest. However, free money can't last forever. Just ask that king of chavs, Michael Carroll. And indeed, we predicted that the time would come where we'd need to pay the piper. And it seems that that time has come now. And where Sunak is now holding the country's purse strings a little more tightly, he's already seeing his popularity dented. He's even facing accusations of throwing out crumbs to the people from his ivory towers. Bit harsh. But that's despite the rise to national insurance having been on the cards for months and indeed having been designed in order to provide more support for the NHS. The NHS that helped us through the pandemic. A little bit more than a 2-for-1 deal at Nando's, despite the NHS being chronically underfunded for decades. But hey, you can't please all the people all of the time. Unless, of course, you're dishing out free money, I guess. Recent actions, though, they've put him at odds with Boris a little. Boris, he's never one to like unwelcome news or to support any action that could affect his popularity among voters. Unless it's lockdown drinks at his garden, of course, then he's first in the queue to pop open the bolly. But Boris wants to build a number of nuclear power stations to reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels. And Russia, no doubt. He sees this as a flagship project to protect the nation. However, Sunak is a little more practical with the numbers, and he's refusing to endorse such a huge investment because of the burden that will place on future governments. Perhaps indeed his own future government that he will lead. He's a wily young chap, that Sunak. But while they work that out behind closed doors of Downing Street, the rest of the country waits with a degree of trepidation for the higher energy bills to dent their doormats once the energy cap is raised later this week. And meanwhile, the Bank of England is expected to continue raising rates to claw back inflation. And in the market, despite that, sterling started the week on the back foot. It was under a little pressure against the dollar yesterday and we tested support around the 130 level. This level was held and we opened this morning around 130.90 against the dollar, and around 119.20 against the euro. Over in the US, all their inflationary problems that are currently facing the economy, they come from the supply side. The Fed was indeed a little too complacent when issues with the supply chain started last summer. Indeed, Jerome Powell has been forced to accept the mistakes were made on his watch, as he eventually stepped away from the term transitory relating to inflation and started to accept that they do indeed need to act. All this has been made slightly worse by the war in Ukraine. This is expected to keep the price of energy higher for longer, and that will in turn keep inflation higher for at least the rest of this year and possibly well into 2023 as well. But at least the recent employment data has been encouraging. The number registering for initial jobless claims has fallen to new lows, and the early forecast for non-farm payrolls on Friday are for 475,000 new jobs to be created. Remember, the past 2 months have beaten expectations, bringing the sweepstake trophy home for #TeamOver. So that will present a little downside risk for proceedings. Keep an eye on that when you play along on Friday. In the market, the dollar index rallied a little yesterday. We ran out of steam around 99.35, but we did manage to close over the 99 level. We finished around 99.15 on the day yesterday, and euro dollar opens this morning around 109.85. Right, that's it from me. Have a great day. Join me again tomorrow.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FX Blue.